It's January 30th, 2022 as I record this, which makes this project about 2 years old. Most of the original terrariums have degenerated in that time, and a few are mostly extinct, but many of them have grown fairly substantial mats of moss, and the newer terrariums, most of which are around 9 months old, are faring better, with surviving vascular plants. Most encouragingly, the second carboy terrarium, 00307, which was planted just before last year's snowstorm and which is just over a year old, is flourishing, with successful stands of lily turf grass and spotted surge as well as a lot of moss. So let's take a closer look. In the front yard, my little shade experiment looks to have been mostly a success. A windstorm 2 weeks ago blew it over, but it didn't kill or break anything. Terrarium 00101 has survived the summer and a couple of light freezes since then, and the oak leaf creeping fig is still alive, although the spotted surge, which is an annual, looks to have died. The other terrarium here didn't survive, but 00201, which was originally planted out here and which I had written off for dead, has sprouted what looks like a wild onion after being relocated to the kitchen. On the backyard picnic table, only one terrarium remains alive, number 00305, the little gin bottle terrarium. It's still got this little plant growing in it, but most of the wall is covered with dead material that doesn't appear to be decaying very quickly. I suspect this plant will die in the next couple of months, either from getting choked off from the light, or from the summer heat, or both. That's assuming it survives this next week, when temperatures are supposed to dip into the mid-20s overnight. On the steps are all the old first-generation terrariums. None of these have real plants living in them, but about half have algae mats or mosses that have grown fairly extensive in places. Most of the growth is in parts of the terrarium normally shaded by parts of the stair rail or by the soil of the terrarium itself. The most impressive, though, is the second carboy terrarium, 00307. Not only are the plants still alive and thriving inside, but this terrarium is over a year old now, having been sealed on January 18th, 2021. I think this terrarium outlived the other carboy terrarium because it was sitting on the ground during last year's snowstorm, while the other terrarium was up on the table. Consequently, the soil may have stayed a little bit warmer. Either way, except for the lily turf grass, most of these plants sprouted after the storm. The insects that were placed inside haven't been seen since then, which is unfortunate since keeping them alive was ostensibly the point of this terrarium. Still, it's got a nice mix of plants growing inside, and it's the first to survive a whole year in this condition. That's all I've got for now. There are also these leftover terrariums from the 6-month sustainability study, most of which are still alive in some form or other even though the experiment is finished. But I haven't finished the video on that, so I really don't want to talk about them yet. See you next time.